In the heart of Nigeria, where the savannas meet bustling cities and tranquil villages, a century of healing unfolds. Today, we embark on a journey through time to celebrate a century of dedication and triumph. Welcome to MVRI 100 Years of History. Our journey unfolds against the backdrop of a region scarred by the first panzootic of rinderpest in West Africa. Between 1885 and 1890, a relentless wave of disease claimed 90% of the cattle population. The echoes of this catastrophe lingered, and when the drought and famine of 1912 and 1913 struck, another wave of panzootic swept through in 1913 and 1914. The aftermath was devastating, witnessing a drastic reduction in the cattle population from 9.01 million to 2.7 million. In the wake of such calamity, the colony and protectorate of Nigeria recognized the urgent need for veterinary services. The decision was made to establish them swiftly. However, the exigencies of the First World War from 1914 to 1918 introduced unavoidable delays, underscoring the challenges faced by those who sought to protect the nation's precious cattle. It is against this backdrop of adversity that our story truly begins. In 1924, a humble laboratory emerged, dedicating itself to the formidable task of combating rinderpests. NVRI, born in the shadows of crisis, quickly evolved into a beacon of hope.
There are so many defining moments, starting from when the Institute began in 1924. It was established on the back of an outbreak called rinderpest, which depopulated the African cattle population by up to 90%. And at that time, the colonial administration felt there was a need to begin to look at how to control this devastating disease. And so the Institute was established on the back of that disease, and a vaccine was developed. So we like to say that the animal disease control strategy of the Institute began from in 1924 with the quest to control rinderpest.
In the dramatized scenes before you, witness the pivotal moments that defined NVRI's early years. Young scientists, driven by a fervent dedication to their mission, isolated the rinderpest virus. The production of the first antiserum became a triumph over adversity, and hope flourished as vaccinated cattle began to graze freely.
So we like to say that the animal disease control strategy of the Institute began in 1924 with the quest to control rinderpest. Thankfully, rinderpest has been eradicated from the face of the world. Everywhere is now rinderpest free.
NVRI's odyssey didn't conclude with the triumph over rinderpests. Instead, it marked the inception of a transformative era, a period where the institution, like a vigilant guardian, confronted challenges such as Newcastle disease and trypanosomiasis head-on.
For the West African sub-region, NVRI played a very key role in producing vaccines, providing disease surveillance, and controlling and eventually eradicating the disease. So, per decades, this is what has been going on. Right now, we produce about 20 different animal vaccines, and for a majority of those vaccines, they have been developed here, and they were produced by our research staff over the last 100 years. So these have been periods that have been defining moments for the Institute.
Join us as we delve into the realms of breakthroughs and innovation. The corridors of NVRI echoed with the footsteps of pioneers, scientists whose unwavering commitment shaped a legacy. They stood at the forefront of battles against Newcastle disease, the relentless adversary, and the insidious trypanosomiasis. These weren't just scientific endeavors, they were endeavors that touched the lives of countless farmers. In the following moments, you will meet the architects of these breakthroughs, individuals whose brilliance illuminated the path to progress. But this journey isn't just about sterile laboratories. It's about the heartbeat of communities and the resonance of change.
My first responsibility was taking care of rabbits. Rabbits belong to the small animals, and they use them mainly for experiments, for vaccine testing, and so that was my first responsibility. I was attached to the diagnostic division, and so for many years I worked with the Docu VOM farm, taking care of the rabbits, and also involved in surveillance and diagnosis of diseases.
Diagnostic services is one of the key mandates of the National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM. And you know, in management of cases, whether it's human or animals, you need diagnosis.
This is where the Department of Bacteriology, Parasitology, and Biology became very critical as part of this institute.
The institute has contributed a lot in the development of the country as a whole.
We undertake policy formulation from that. Policy formulation in the sense that we assess the output or outcome of those projects and activities, and then we're in position to advise management on a better way to go.
I headed the virology research lab or viral research lab, which eventually metamorphosed to the regional lab, regional support lab for West and Central Africa, supported them by FAO. And when the regional economic commissions took responsibility, it became regional support lab for West Africa. That's under the ECOWAS, and that's what it is now.
It plays an integral role in fulfilling the mandate of the Institute. The Extension Services play so many roles. Our cardinal role is to bring our services to the doorstep of livestock farmers?
Our early years here were very memorable. Every weekend we had byproducts sent to us from the farms: eggs, bacon, and other byproducts of research. And then milk was available. The vaccine production facility, as you see it now, they were built in 1961 and commissioned around that time, 1961.
I came to NVRI as an assistant director, and I worked in NVRI before I later became a director. As a former executive director, research was a high line on my calendar. So we thought of upscaling. We waived a lot of things for them and said, go and do your masters and your PhDs. So they went in. So what today is NVRI is a result of that.
I was posted to bacteriology division of the institute. And I was asked to start learning how to produce vaccines.
When I went to VOM, it was multidisciplinary. We had parasitologists, we had immunologists, we had biochemists, and these were the core of the research.
As Director of Finance and Account, working with funding partners have been a wonderful experience. We have received grants. They usually have a guideline of how you are expected to operate. That is, for them giving you fund, you must be able to retire such fund. And for those ones that we have partnered with, at least for the past 1 year plus, the retirement has been perfect. The pots have been sent on time.
Listen closely as we share the voices of those whose fields were not only sown with crops but with hope. Farmers once started by the uncertainties of livestock diseases now stand as witnesses to a transformation brought about by NVRI. Their tales reflect the profound impact on food security and the welfare of the very animals that sustain their way of life.
All these goats you see around here are West African goats, dwarf goats that we have been breeding here, and they have been helpful to us because when we need money to pay our children's school fees or feeding, we sell them and get money. For NVRI that is close to us here, we can get vaccines to vaccinate our animals, and our animals have been healthy for years. It has been helpful. So all our goats are doing well, are doing fine because of the vaccines.
I got my rabbits from National Veterinary Research Institute, VOM, and that's where I started the whole farming business. And so NVRI has actually helped in that. In the process of our growth, National Veterinary Research Institute being a research institute, most times when we have issues of mortality, we usually take the carcasses to diagnostic for postmortem. So from there we get results to know what to give our animals, and that has really helped the growth of the farm.
We're into poultry production, and we've been doing it over the years with the assistance of NVRI. We take vaccines for NVRI, and then we have been doing a lot of collaboration. So I, for one, I want to attest to the fact that the vaccines are excellent. Therefore, urge farmers to let's keep the jobs at home. Let's keep our jobs working by patronizing the NVRI vaccine that I can attest that they are potent.
With the NVRI around us, we have seriously have vaccines like PPR, Newcastle, and even anthrax for our animals. We are really grateful for that vaccine, and we have an extension unit of NVRI here, which they have built for us for poultry production. Apart from that, NVRI with the PPR vaccine, we have rare cases of those issues within us. So it has perfectly helped us. So we'll need more if need be.
I've been into poultry for over 10 years now. And since I started, I've been using my vaccination from NVRI. So Since I started, I have not had any issue with any of the vaccine. So their vaccine have been okay since I started. I have not had any issue. It has been okay. It has taken care of all the diseases and taking care of the chickens. So they have not had issue. I think their vaccine is okay.
Zaman mu da masu cututtukan dabbobi musamman veterinary na VOM. To lalle wannan wurin mu tun da muka yi wayo ma kamar yadda kuke cewa abun ya cika shekara 100 mu tun da muka yi wayo mun samu mu makiyaya muna la'aka da su waɗannan masu magungunan dabbobi muna harkoki da su kuma muna ji daɗin su sosai. Don lalle veterinary duk wani makiyayi na Najeriya ba wanda bai san veterinary ba. Don duk wani maganin da muke samuwa a cikin kasashen nan in an gaya maka na veterinary ne zaka saya shi ranka ɗaya baka wani tunani.
As the sounds of time shifted, so did the role of NVRI. Entering an era marked by the emerging diseases, the Institute became a bulwark against the invisible forces threatening both animal and human well-being. Navigate with us through these turbulent waters, where NVRI faced new adversaries and forged alliance on a global scale.
So our laboratories need to be of international standards. They have to be certified and accredited for the work that we do so that the results are internationally recognized. So our laboratories are certified ISO 17025. And you have to keep that standard. And what it means is that all the resources have to continue to be updated and upgraded for you to maintain that certification that allows you to send test results all over the world, and it is accepted because the laboratory and the people that are doing the work are all certified. We have a lot of collaborations with UN agencies. We have donor partners. We have other similar institutions like ourselves across the world that partner with us and provide support. So sometimes when we have a disease outbreak and we are not able to completely confirm what the disease is, we're able to send the organisms to any part of the world to get support.
NVRI is seen to the fact that there is a equilibrium maintained, that diseases do not become a major problem for us in Nigeria. Even though once in a while we have disease outbreaks, diseases, sometimes anthrax. Of recent we had the anthrax outbreak. NVRI was called upon and it stood to the task. It produced vaccines for the frontline states and for the country. And it also supplied our neighboring countries like Cameroon and the West African sub-region for their own supplies. So we are really playing the role. I really am happy that since its establishment, NVRI is one of the organizations that instead of going down has really increased. We produce vaccines that are fit for purpose, that are measured to international standards, and that are still serving the country.
NVRI had made a mark. The type of students that came from different countries, from West Africa as a whole. I know many of them. Former president of Gambia, Dauda Jawara, was a student in animal health. This school was established long ago to help in the course of research. And I'm very proud to be associated with all this history, knowing people that came from Cameroon, from Mali, from Togo, and Gambia, Sierra Leone. It was a mini West Africa when I came in.
The dawn of the 21st century witnesses NVRI not merely adapting, but orchestrating a transformative symphony of scientific breakthroughs. Picture a tapestry where strands of genomics and bioinformatics converge, weaving a narrative of unprecedented discovery. Step into the beating heart of innovation, where every stride is a testament to NVRI's commitment to shaping the future. Now, let's delve deeper and meet the visionaries steering this epoch of healing.
NVRI has participated directly with developing strategies for disease control. A lot of the disease control measures that are in place in Nigeria have had NVRI's research inputs, because on the back of our research we are able to say this is what needs to be done to control this particular disease. And I give you an example. When bird flu first broke, we didn't know, the country didn't have a control strategy, and there was no vaccine available for most parts of the world. And our research results fed directly into the government's policy of saying no vaccination for birds that come down with bird flu. So what we do is we depopulate, we decontaminate the farm, and then we give it a lead time before you allow the farmer to bring in its own birds. So those kinds of strategies are on the back of research that is done directly here. We also participate directly in developing policy documents. And as the national laboratory, because we are designated national laboratory, all confirmed cases of animal disease outbreaks in Nigeria have to be confirmed from our laboratories here. And that feeds directly into what is referred to as the Animal Diseases Control Act. So we do make presentation to governments based on research, what the policy direction should be for disease control. We also have, in the agricultural space, in animal production, been part of adapting and bringing in innovations. So, for example, the quail, we have adapted the quail to Nigeria, and we have distributed almost 13 million of those birds across the country. And the adaptation and the research has taken place here in the Institute.
We have contributed as an institute to the control of rinderpest and eradication of the rinderpest globally.
Late Dr. Novino, Dr. Obi Kasali, Dr. Obi Smith, these were people who were trained in the US, trained in Canada, and came to be part of us here and train us. And it was because of them that some of us went to Canada or went to US, went to Britain to train. And that's why the Institute has become what it is today.
Staff on their own cannot do anything if you don't have the facilities. So the next thing was to upgrade the facilities. You can put up the building. If you don't have the equipment, you can't do much. The next thing was to procure and furnish the laboratories with state-of-the-art equipment. The main aspect, the main focus of NBRI, which is called National Veterinary Research Institute, is for veterinary research. Then we need the personnel upgrade, we need the equipment upgrade, and we need the facility upgrade.
When COVID came, it took the world by surprise. Rinderpest was the phenomenon of the time, and when it came, we took care of it. It was a humongous task, and we overcame. So we have to recognize all those people who toiled. Many of them have passed away, they are not here. We have to remember them.
In the heart of Nigeria, a legacy unfolds, a legacy of healing, innovation, and community. As we celebrate 100 years, let us look forward to the next century with unwavering dedication, boundless innovation, and collaborative spirit.
No matter how much our mandate expands, I would like to leave a legacy of, like I said, quality standards. Always making sure that we set the pace and that the standards are high enough that we can compete in any environment around the world. That is what I would like to see continue. Yes. So for the rest of our colleagues that have retired or have been part of our system before or not, we invite them to celebrate with us. Over the course of this year, we're going to have several activities that will culminate into, in November, having a sort of festival that we hope will draw in not just the local community, but those who have worked with us, international partners. And we are expecting that they will send congratulatory messages. Some are already asking what role we would like them to play. And so we're already taking notes down and expecting people to come. One of the activities actually is a global one. It has to do with the control or the eradication of another disease called PPR. This is a disease in sheep and goats that actually devastates the rural economy. And the world is set to eradicate that disease. And we are set to host one of what is called the roadmap for eradication. For us, it's very exciting. It means we will be leading the whole of the West African disease control. And we are slated to have it in July. We are also working with the US government through the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. And they are offering to upgrade one of our labs. So we are marking the celebration around a groundbreaking ceremony for a brand new laboratory that is being supported by the US government. All these are, things that we are excited about and will all hold during the course of this 2024, along with the centenary celebrations.
We are now going to celebrate 100 years as an institute. So I'm looking forward to the institute finally coming up with a company of its own, to separate the research institute from vaccine production, whereby the vaccine can generate income for research and also for IGR for government.
And I would like to congratulate her and congratulate the entire institute for attaining 100 years.
100 years is a lot of time. And I know that in another 100 years, MVRI would have. I'm looking forward to an explosion.
I congratulate everyone who has had a part in this institute, both those I don't know and those that I know.
I wish Dr. Mrs. Mohammed and her team a very successful centenary celebration.
The only goodwill message I have for MVRI is to keep the ball rolling. Keep the ball rolling. Keep the ball rolling. Finish.
I congratulate the National Veterinary Research Institute VOM, the entire staff, the executive director.
I will first start by saying that it's a rare privilege. It's a privilege for me and all members of the department that we are alive to witness 100 years of the existence of the Institute.
I wish the Institute more 100 years.
So my goodwill message is that God Almighty
we helped our leaders to look in the direction of research and agri-development and make vet even better than what it was.
So I want to congratulate the executive director, and I'm also want to give my goodwill to the staff of the entire MVRI for giving their support.
Mun ji daɗin wannan bukin da zai yi na wanda za mu sika shekara 100 a vet. Allah ya kai mu mun gani amma waɗansu ba su gani ba. To mun gode ma Allah.
I wish them all the best. I'm happy for them that they are there, and I'm available anytime they need any help or advice. But I wish them all the best, and I wish another 100 years.
The forthcoming 100 years centenary celebration will be delightful and exciting to witness. Having worked in National Veterinary Research Institute for 35 years,
I can only wish them lots of success.
The legacy is that we have put an establishment in place that can handle the challenges of the next generation.
I wish them progress, actually. Yes, I wish them a lot of good things to happen to them.
To see this celebration of 100 years, I'm very, very happy among the living ones.
I want to first and foremost start with the previous directors. They've done a lot to put a solid foundation for that place to grow. For those of them who are still alive, I wish them all the best. Those who have gone, well, they've done their best.
I want to wish them all, a pleasant and a happy centenary celebration.
As we celebrate a century of dedication to animal health and welfare, we honor the pioneers, scientists, and professionals who have shaped our journey. From breakthrough discoveries to life-saving innovations, the National Veterinary Research Institute VOM has been a beacon of hope for a healthier world. Here's to many more years of advancing veterinary science, protecting public health, and improving the lives of animals and humans alike. May the next 100 years of NVRI be filled with continued excellence, collaboration, and a shared passion for a better future for all.